In case you missed this, Jane Fonda, that peacenik, that war-hating, that violence-hating Jane Fonda literally suggested murdering pro-life politicians during an appearance on ABC's The View.
Besides marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous. What did you say? Murder.
She's kidding. Wait.
Yeah, my next guest reported Fonda's comments to the Capitol Police and said her office received a death threat following the video. Let's bring in that woman, Congresswoman Paulina Luna. Thanks for joining us. They're all laughing, yuck, 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 Congresswoman, but it's not funny to you, is it?
No, not at all. And I do anticipate that Capitol Police will be taking this very seriously. Unfortunately for Jane Fonda, she actually publicly, for the first time since making those comments, said that she was kidding. But as you're seeing that clip, you can see that she never retracted that statement. She never said that she was kidding. And those calls for violence against pro-life politicians like myself do have effects. And unfortunately, we're seeing that play out. We did have to report another death threat after that comment was made by Jane Fonda on The View to Capitol Police, and we're going to be holding her accountable.
So let's do it this way. Let's start with Jane Fonda and we'll move on. But what's the message to Jane Fonda from someone who's gravely affected by a stupid comment of hers?
Interestingly enough, Jane Fonda prides herself on being a pro-woman activist, except for the fact that if she realizes what she said with her comments, women, especially elected officials, are actually more targeted than our male counterparts by some of these really awful people because we're looked at like victims. So all she's simply done has made a call of violence against women, which makes her a total hypocrite. Regardless of party affiliation, you should never, ever, ever make calls for violence like that. She should be ashamed. She should be blacklisted by Hollywood, and I do hope that Capitol Police brings charges against her.
And then let's take it one step further. Lily Tomlin was sitting right next to her, asked her what she just said. She repeated murder, and she laughed. So Lily Tomlin and Joy Behar laughing on the other side. What's the message to those two?
Again, The View prides itself on being a perspective for women viewpoints, except if you're pro-life like I am, they want to call for your murder. These women should be deeply ashamed of themselves, and The View should issue a comment. They've been cowardice and hiding behind their platform and their position. I think yesterday they did a show interviewing a Muppet and skincare products, yet you can make active calls against women because you simply don't view their perspectives as something that you agree with. I'm against violence for all women, and I believe that if these women had even a remote bit of integrity, they would have the same perspective that I do.
I've been in TV for about 20 years, and I'll tell you, if you make a comment or someone on your show makes a comment and it's left unchecked, like Joy Behar laughing, she was hosting, you would have to make an apology, and certainly we haven't heard that from Joy Behar. We haven't heard it from ABC either. Forget the show. How about the mothership, ABC? Where are they on this?
The network hasn't responded to Fox when they reached out for comment. And later on, Jane Fonda did say that she was kidding. That was just today, I believe, when they reached out for comment. But again, if you look at the comments that she made, you can see that she's not kidding. I believe that this network needs to be held accountable. Steve Scalise was shot by someone that was basically on the other side of the political aisle. We had the gubernatorial candidate for the New York race that was just assaulted on stage. So violence against politicians is a very real thing. I have received death threats in the past, and I take this very seriously. The network, if anything happens to a politician as a result of this, should absolutely be held accountable.
And I think back, and there was a pro-life activist who was protecting his son, happened to be in front of an abortion clinic. He was protecting his son, and he simply shoved someone out of the way, and then the FBI came and they raided him in front of his family. They handcuffed him, came guns a-blazing, and all the guy did was protect his son in front of an abortion clinic. Meanwhile, this clown, this anti-war Jane Fonda activist who calls herself an actress and she hasn't done a damn thing in acting in decades, calls for the murder of people who disagree with her point of view on abortion. It's insane with the hypocrisy. Why aren't they busting up her door right now and arresting her?
I think it's the double standard that exists within the justice system. Fortunate enough, according to the conversations that our office had with Capitol Police, and now that there's been a second threat literally made as a result of this video. In fact, the individual that made the threat actually did it on my official account underneath the posting of the View video, where we were basically saying, you know, this is unacceptable. We're reporting it to Capitol Police. They said that the only good conservative and Trump supporter was a dead one, and they added our page. So that type of rhetoric, that type of behavior, you know, these people like Jane Fonda, who have these massive platforms, ultimately they are going to get someone hurt. And I believe that from a legal perspective, if you are going to go and run your mouth on a national news outlet and someone gets hurt as a result of your comments, legally, we are going to go after you. And that's exactly what we're doing.
It's amazing. It's amazing how this works, folks. The cancel culture, the woke left, you say something wrong that's slightly offensive to some protected group, and you're canceled. You're pulled off of whatever job you have. You're ostracized in the community. This woman literally calls for the murder of politicians who disagree with her stance on abortion, and crickets. Final thought.
Final thoughts would be this. I make no apologies for the fact that I want to protect the life of the unborn. People like Jane Fonda, unfortunately, when you hear those comments, you have to understand that that's probably very much so that individual. And it says more about her than it does any pro-life candidate, pro-life activist, or pro-life politician. And I'll continue to fight for that because I believe that life begins at conception.
Good for you. Paulina Luna, Congresswoman, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.